Tonight on To The Point, bracing for wildfire season.
Now is your time to get out there and do that defensible space work.
How our warming weather is fueling higher risks. Plus, addressing California's water storage. The big announcement made this week heading into summer. The White House proposing billions more in federal cuts. What's on the chopping block and how it could affect you. And later on the back roads. We're heading to Amador County, where tradition meets one remarkable herd of Texas Longhorns. But first, we start with breaking news tonight. Police are investigating after at least 2 people were shot on the campus of a Southern California technical college. It happened at the Spartan College of Aeronautics and Technology. Officials tell KABC the shooting occurred in an office at the school and believe it is a workplace violence incident. No word yet on a possible suspect, but it is something that we will keep following. As always, thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and we have a question for you. Could peak wildfire season come early this year? I mean, with warmer weather in April means parts of the Sierra snowpack are melting faster than usual, exposing brush earlier in the season. ABC's Becca Habegger spoke with experts today who say now is the time to prepare. Right, Becca?
Yeah, Alex, right. I mean, to be clear, we are not yet in what experts consider to be full-on peak fire season. But with temperatures rising and greenery beginning the process of drying out, now is the time to get our heads and our yards ready.
Rising temperatures heading towards summer mean all the grass and vegetation that grew over Northern California's wet winter will dry out in coming weeks.
Now is the perfect time to get out there and try and get that work done on your property before things dry all the way out.
Robert Foxworthy with CAL FIRE says waiting until the vegetation in your yard is fully dry before cutting it back could create a fire hazard, since lawnmowers or other machinery catching a rock can lead to a spark that causes a fire.
We would really expect to start seeing those fuels dry out, and that uptick going from this month into June and July is when I would say we would really start to see those fuels dry out and have that threat more spread statewide.
The timing has to do, in part, with the melting of the Sierra snowpack. I spoke by phone with Andrew Schwartz, director of the UC Berkeley Central Sierra Snow Lab.
At this point in time, most of the snowpack is looking pretty good, but we are seeing early melt out in some area, and those areas are likely to experience a little bit of elevated fire danger. Down south of I-80, where we've had less snow this season, it looks like it's going to melt out early. The challenge with early melt is that gives our ecosystems extra time to dry out as we go into the summer and fire season.
Though he points out Northern California has seen 3 wet winters in a row.
That only occurs about every 25 years when we have 3 that are either at normal or above average. So it's exceedingly rare and is a really good thing as far as our reservoir storage and our water resources throughout the state. But the caveat to that being that also means plenty of water for new vegetation to grow.
Still, he says 3 consecutive wet winters is better than 3 years of drought.
As far as what we see at the Snow Lab in terms of this upcoming fire season, we're cautiously optimistic, I'd say. A lot depends on where folks are in relation to the geography of California and their fire danger. People down in areas like Mammoth or in the Southern Sierra might be, a little bit more concerned than we are up here, where we've hit 100% of our snowpack.
And hey, CAL FIRE's annual Wildfire Preparedness Week is next week, so expect to hear more from them and from us about how to stay safe heading into these warm, dry months. Alex?
All right, Becca, thank you. Earlier this year, CAL FIRE released updated fire hazard severity zone maps for the entire state, and this was the first update to these maps in more than 15 years. They now show more counties growing in very high hazard acreage. They help tell the potential damage a fire can do to the area under existing conditions. You can find your home's severity zone. All you have to do is search your address on CAL FIRE's website. Some good news this week with the state and federal water agencies increasing allocations for this summer. Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods breaks down the multiple ways the state stores water and also the importance of the Sierra snowpack.
California's water grid can be quite complex, but we're going to break it down. We've got our main groundwater basins, which hold water underneath the Earth's surface, but then our main above-ground storage and conveyance system that's really critical right now. That's because it's taking in the snow melt, and depending on how much we have, that depends how much we're going to be able to allocate through the dry summer months. So the State Water Project increased that allocation to 50% from 40% last month. That's because the snowpack season ended near 100%. Our above average reservoir levels are maintained right now, with Oroville potentially reaching capacity, and that could help add some cushion into next year. Taking a look at our major reservoir supply levels, Trinity, Shasta, Oroville, and Folsom all near capacity and well above average. Now, this is also true throughout the Central Valley for New Melones, Don Pedro, and Millerton, pretty close to capacity there. San Luis is a really interesting one because it's an off-stream pump reservoir, so it can kind of take that water as needed or as available and then move it down into Southern California through the California Aqueduct. Taking a look at Lake Oroville, how much it's above capacity or above average here and nearing capacity. Just a great inflow from that snow melt. Take a look at this snow melt path and you'll see the Feather River is what's going to feed Lake Oroville, whereas the American River, that feeds Folsom. All of this moves downstream through gravity as the snow meters off slowly and then moves into Discovery Park, at which point it heads out to the Delta and eventually either out to sea to kind of prevent that saltwater intrusion or over towards the San Luis Reservoir to head into our California Aqueduct. Now, the conveyance key points, storage is significant. We have dry summer months, frequent droughts. We have nearly 1,500 reservoirs throughout the state, but ownership is key. 60% of the state's storage is owned by the state and the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, meaning the federal government. We obviously have that aqueduct, which can move the water great distances, but groundwater truly and still provides the largest storage opportunity.
And you can find more weather explainers and extended forecasts on our free ABC 10 Plus TV app. That app is completely free to download to your TV. There's a new president at the University of California. The Board of Regents today approved the appointment of James Milliken. He previously served as the chancellor of the University of Texas system. All right, let's get into your price points tonight. There are some signs of movement tonight in the U.S.-China trade standoff. China says the U.S. has reached out to start tariff talks, and it comes as stronger job numbers are released and the White House unveils its new budget proposal. Here's Perry Russom with the details tonight.
For the first time, China acknowledging the U.S. has reached out to start negotiations on tariffs. The process is still in its early stages. China, facing a tariff of 145%, says they are still evaluating the U.S. reaching out. It comes as the Trump administration is ramping up its trade war with China. Any packages coming in from China and Hong Kong with a value of $800 or less are now subject to tariffs. There are 4 million of what's called low-value packages a day. They now face a 120% tariff or $100 package fee. It will increase to $200 on June 1st. Meanwhile, new jobs numbers today show the U.S. added 177,000 jobs last month. The unemployment rate staying at 4.2%. Those numbers are better than expected. Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-DeRemer on CNN.
As we see the American worker, manufacturing jobs go up, transportation jobs grow up, construction jobs month over month. So this is good for the American economy.
The White House today releasing their proposed budget for fiscal year 2026. It calls for $163 billion in cuts to federal spending. There are cuts to education, foreign aid, environment, and health programs, increases to defense and homeland security. That budget proposal is basically a wish list from the White House. It's up to Congress to create and pass the budget. Then the president signs it. But this does give a better idea of what the administration is prioritizing. Perry Russom, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump recently marked 100 days of his second term in office. The To The Point team spent an hour breaking down the president's actions and their impact on California. You can watch our special California and Trump's first 100 days right now on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Still ahead, air traffic controllers in crisis. As staffing hits a 30-year low, health officials are rolling out a new solution.
System coming in this weekend, bringing some rain, some dusting, a dusting of snow to the high country, but also wind to the valley. We'll talk about that coming up.
And on the back roads, we are heading to a family-run ranch in Amador County, where one woman is preserving the legacy of an iconic American breed. Welcome back. This is a live look over Lake Tahoe tonight. A beautiful week of weather. Let's go ahead and bring in meteorologist Brendan Minchef. Brendan, there are some changes on the way, though, coming this weekend, right?
Yeah, some changes, but not, it's going to be hard to call it a wholesale pattern change, but definitely is going to be different than what we've seen this week. So let's just break it down. Valley rainfall, I'm not expecting anything more than some sprinkles in the valley. It's going to be very hit and miss out there. Temperatures are going to be much cooler. We'll be in the low 70s. As far as snow goes, those snow levels are going to be about 8,000 plus feet. So that means only a dusting and really only at the very high peaks. In terms of wind, though, it is going to be windy out there. Sustained winds, especially on Sunday, 15 to 30 miles per hour in the valley. Out of the north, we could see gusts upwards of 45 miles per hour, however. So we'll talk more about that in just a second. Today, though, we made it to 77 average for the time of year. 82 in Sacramento, 82 Modesto, 79 Vacaville, 80 up in Marysville this afternoon. Currently 71 Sacramento, 71 Vacaville, 68 in Fairfield, 75 Stockton, 74 Manteca, 78 in Modesto, 68 Placerville, 64 in Truckee, and we have a nice breeze as well. Sustained winds about 15 miles per hour in Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto, but windier and gustier out near Vacaville and Fairfield, where gusts are close to 30 miles per hour, gusts close to 40 out in San Francisco right now. We're going to remain breezy overnight with winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Waking up early Saturday morning, temperatures will be in those middle 50s and a few clouds out there. Saturday afternoon, 72 Sacramento, 70 Stockton, 72 Modesto, 60s in the foothills, 54 Truckee, 51 South Lake Tahoe. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds tomorrow as well. That average high 77. So about 5 degrees cooler than normal tomorrow. Here is Futurecast. You see some showers in the foothills and Sierra, well south of Tahoe to start Saturday. Becomes more widespread as we go through Saturday afternoon, but it's just hit and miss showers. And you can see there's really not much in the valley whatsoever. So that rain chance is going down, but so too that snow chance, only the high peaks and passes. But definitely want to talk about the wind very quickly. Wind advisory in effect for the Sacramento Valley and Delta from 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday for gusts 45 to 50 miles per hour, and the strongest winds are going to be along and west of Interstate 5. So be ready for a windy end to the weekend. Even though Sunday will be much warmer, near 80, it will again be much gustier. Mid to upper 80s next week, maybe even 90 by the end of next work week, Alex.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Next, on to the point, a major staffing shortage at air traffic control towers. How transportation officials are attempting to supercharge hiring. Plus, on the back roads, we're heading to Amador County to visit a ranch with horns, history, and heart. Welcome back. With air traffic controls at critically low levels across the country, the U.S. Department of Transportation is hoping to supercharge hiring. Federal officials have announced a number of initiatives to expand hiring. It includes offering financial incentives to graduates for completing initial training milestones, expediting the process for routine medical and security clearances, and rewarding academy graduates assigned to facilities that are hard to staff.
This is a commitment to the dedicated men and women keeping our skies safe. It's a real, tangible move towards building and sustaining the workforce that America needs.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is also decreasing the hiring process at the FAA by 5 months. There's also a bonus initiative offered for controllers who don't retire early. The FAA says it's on track to hire at least 2,000 controllers this year as part of a separate hiring campaign. It's Friday, so it's time for another trip on the back roads. Tonight, John Bartel is taking us to the rolling hills of Amador County to meet a rancher who is keeping a century-old family legacy alive with kindness, history, and some very big horns.
Well, my dad was a real cowboy. They called him the Cowboy Colonel, Colonel West, Colonel Fraser West. My father rodeoed from the age of 12 to 92. He came here, he retired, and just fell in love with, this is Goldie Hawn. This is, he didn't fall in love with Goldie Hawn. Hi, baby.
These are Texas Longhorns, but this is not Texas.
Come on, here he comes. Come on, big boy, come on.
Welcome to West Haven Longhorns in Ione, California, an award-winning family-run cattle ranch that's been operating in the grasslands of Amador County since 1973.
He fell in love with their great maternal instincts, their amazing intelligence, their ability to breed and deliver without any help.
After her father passed in 2015, Sandra Westmore picked up where her dad left off and started running the ranch.
But with all Longhorns, you just have to go slow and respect they have big horns. He's checking you out.
Sandra, who's lived a colorful life as an actress and retired legal negotiator in the tech industry, approaches ranching in a different way than other ranchers would.
Hi, sweet boy. Can I? You notice I always ask permission? You don't just lunge in there.
Instead of forcefully herding the cattle, she uses kindness and a distinctive call to move the animals.
Come on, Rusty, come on! Come on! Come on! There, he's picked up the pace.
Sandra says her father chose to raise Longhorns because of their gentle nature and historical significance.
What are Longhorns exactly?
Longhorns are a very important breed in the United States. I bet you think they're from Texas?
Yeah.
No, they're not from Texas.
No.
Christopher Columbus brought the first Longhorns to America in 1493.
Sandra says the origins of Texas Longhorns can be traced back to Africa, but when they were brought to North America, the cattle lived a semi-feral existence on rangelands in Mexico and later in Texas and other parts of the U.S.
Can I ask you something about these horns here? Why are they so long?
Well, they're survival animals. So in the South, they developed into lateral shapes to knock the moss out of the tree. In the West, like her, they developed a more forward scoop to toss wolves.
Longhorns were a big part of the U.S. cattle industry until more favorable cattle breeds were introduced in the early 1900s. In fact, Texas Longhorns nearly went extinct had it not been for the U.S. Forest Service, who saved and bred a small herd on the Wichita Mountain Wildlife Refuge in 1927.
And now every Longhorn in the United States can trace their lineage back to the 1920s to the Wichita Reserve.
In the 1960s and 70s, popularity with raising Texas Longhorns made a comeback, and the Texas Longhorn Breeders Association of America was formed, and today, certain elite bloodlines with record-breaking horn lengths and fur patterns are sold at auctions for tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, some steers can go like 106, 107 because the testosterone goes into the horns instead of reproduction.
107 inches. That's
many feet.
Yeah.
Many feet.
Like any cattle ranch, Sandra raises Longhorns for breed stock and beef. But these days, her main focus is carrying on the tradition of raising these historic animals.
If you raise these animals right, they're peaceful.
From the West Haven Longhorn Ranch in Ione, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
And you can find more Bartel's Backroads destinations on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Just look for them under the Shows tab and then scroll down to Travel, and the app is free to download to your TV. Stay with us. We're back after this short break. A new chapter today for UC Davis. The university officially opened Aggie Square on its Sacramento campus. The $1.1 billion project, years in the making, includes state-of-the-art labs, classrooms, and flexible workspaces. Also opening in the first phase is a 190-unit apartment building. The development is expected to generate $1.92 billion in regional economic output and create over 12,000 construction jobs, with 3,200 permanent positions once complete. As always, thank you so much for watching and inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think me and the team should be looking into, make sure you just email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. Remember, strangers are just people you haven't gotten the chance to meet yet, so take the time to get to know someone. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday.